I really did not have a very limited experience with the West Coast before I started teaching at Mills. I had a very significant experience in the very early 90s because a friend of mine, artist Nayland Blake, was curating a gallery in San Francisco and invited me to do a concert there. It was my first solo concert, and it was on electric harp. I did the show. It was a full house. I remember they had rake seating, and it was quite extraordinary for me because it was a first, and it was quite well received. And at the end of the show, this very tall gentleman came down and said, "I'm starting a record label, and I want you to be my first release on the label." And of course, I didn't believe him because, like, who would believe that? But in the end, this person turned out to be a silent partner for the label Table of the Elements.
Wow.
And they did release my first solo record, and of course went on to be a very important label,
Yeah.
American Experimental Music.
Yeah. That's quite a variation on the cigar chomping record executive.
It is.
Kid, I want to put you on my label.
Exactly. So besides that, and a couple of other random gigs here and there up and down the coast, I didn't really have an experience, and I didn't really understand what the Pacific Rim actually meant and the kind of power of all the coasts, what that even meant, actually. So when I started teaching at Mills, and I got the job initially because I first was replacing Fred Frith, who had been teaching there for a sabbatical semester. And that went so well. When he was offered to start an improvisation program in the music school in Basel, which he really wanted to do, he suggested that we then share his position, which is how I got myself there in the first place. And I had taught at other schools. Actually, I had taught for 2 years at the Museum for Fine Arts in Boston, the school there. So School for the Museum of Fine Arts, SMFA, in Boston. So I had experience teaching. So it wasn't a new experience, but I really cut my teeth on what it means to be an educator when I was teaching at Mills, because it was a long-term project, you could say. And that school was such a special place in terms of like a kind of hotbed of experimental music.
Yeah.
And the people that went through there, the people that were there, the students that wanted to come to Mills, often you would see the transformation of students becoming artists within the short 2 years that they were there. And it was extremely inspiring.